How did it come to this? Out of 60,000 turns and probably 100,000 keystrokes in the average game, how many times can you expect to screw up? How many times are you allowed to press the wrong key and still survive? And how many games in a row do you expect you can make a negative expected value play of that nature and continue your streak? In this short little video, I'm going to do a gameplay review of game 59 from my streak, where I made a lazy finger keystroke error that led to a whole series of potentially fatal outcomes. And it resulted in a number of consumables being used, a period of time spent at less than 50% health, which is never a good thing. And, I wanted to share this and talk about it, in part to hold myself accountable, but also with the hope that maybe viewers can gain something from it that they can then apply to their own gameplay. So let's take a look at how we got into this mess. Starts out in Spider, and we're doing fine. We've got good ice spells online. We're using more of our mana than we probably should have to cast Refrigeration. And then we retreat to the stairs and get to this point. Now, the correct move is to go up the stairs here, and we pull a couple spiders with us. What I do instead is step up one space. And this is the keystroke error in question. If you look at it at full speed, then you can see this step up onto the stairs, then step up too far happens so quick. It's actually me just double tapping the up button to get into this position. So let's take it from the top and watch it in real time. Retreating to the stairs, step, and just that fast, you're locked out of going up the stairs, which is the correct move. Now what do? You start looking for options. So we're going to look here in a second at what are my movement abilities, what are my evocables. I check Wand of Warping. Obviously I can't hit anything without hitting myself, which is always an option. I do have Surprising Crocodile, which is great for repositioning, so we're going to do that first. Checking Wand of Warping again, trying to get to a better position, just reduce the density of enemies. Now the Condenser Vein is good here because some enemies will be stopped by it as a positional lockout, but spiders, being unintelligent, will walk right into it. I'm just checking the area. I don't want that alarm trap to go off while I can't escape, obviously, so we'll just get some damage out. Now I do have Evocable Blink here. That's my other movement spell. I was really lucky in this position actually because I have lots of options, lots of movement spells. Well, you see I get into this position, I'm down to 5 mana here. So I don't have a lot left on the table. I go for my summon to hopefully be able to step behind it and dodge that Orb of Destruction. No. The Ice Beast has other plans. He sidesteps the Orb of Destruction. And now I'm checking. Did that actually hit me? Yeah. You just got destroyed by an Orb of Destruction. And you're at like 60 health, 59. Just letting it settle in. Okay. So now what do? Blink is online. You notice I don't have the blink debuff. I'm corroded to -8. I decide to go with Fear to, again, reduce the population of enemies around me. Always good in an emergency situation like this to have less enemies around you. I do have the Scroll of Blinking to blink to the stairs, but I opt for the Evocable Blink to reposition. Largely because I know that I've won this fight, and so we're just going to save the consumables at this point. We get to the stairs, and we escape. So just one more time here from the top, to the stairs, and there's the misplay. So the question is, instead of going up the stairs, if we assume that's the baseline, how much negative expected value did we get from that single misclick? Several wand charges, the Scroll of Fear, the charge on our Condenser Vein, the comfort and sanity that is cost to us by having less than half health. Another player or me in a different situation might have used a blink scroll to get back to the stairs. That was viable at one point. And most importantly, I think overall, is that it puts you into a situation now where you have to make several plays that are higher RNG situations than you would otherwise want, right? So our game here with the null Ice Elementalist of Ashen Zari is to keep RNG low, control as much of the game as we possibly can. And in a situation like this, you're forcing yourself to use evocable blinks, which increase your RNG. It's great to have, no question about it, but it is a random feature, and it can blink you anywhere within a certain range. So just using it spikes your RNG. And in a situation where there are multiple enemies on the board, you've got to make the calculation every time you use it. Is this actually beneficial? What are my chances to be repositioned favorably or not? And really, you should be seeking to eliminate situations like that where you get forced to use RNG-based defensive measures. So the Fear Scroll is also RNG-based. Any of your wands that are based on to hit, or the Wand of Warping is effectively a random blink effect. Those enemies sometimes get blinked next to you. The damage is a whole range of things. So I could have just gone up the stairs and fought two meaningless little spiders and gone down a different stairwell. That was the correct play. What I should have done is taken a breath, stepped back when I realized my mana was low before I even retreated to the stairs, or as I was retreating and I'm seeing all the enemies swarm me, which is something that happens often in Spider. And just thought, okay, let's take this very carefully here. As enemies are getting closer, let's make sure every keystroke is right. And what I would say to take away from this is, when you get into a high intensity situation where every keystroke matters, slow down. There's no time limit on these games. There's no other player waiting for you to make your move. Just take a breath. Make sure you're hitting every keystroke precisely. And don't get yourself into situations that are needlessly RNG based. Because every time you spike your RNG, there's a chance you low roll. And the more often that happens, the more likely you are to die. So I hope you enjoyed this little critique of my own play. I am known for making errors like this from time to time. And so I expect that I'll have more videos where I can talk about the importance of single clicks, or the importance of single turns in a tactical sense. I think a lot of DCSS, at a high level, comes down to extracting the absolute most from each turn. And so you've got to put a lot of value on the turns where the tension is really high. So sometimes that just means slow down. I'll see you in the next video.